I'm basically making this video for a friend of mine. My lawn is in rough shape this year because I had some work done. I had a huge weed outbreak, but he asked me if the pre-emergents work, and I said yeah, I think they do, as long as you apply them right and make sure your spreader is actually applying as much as it's supposed to. I have the Scott's Edge Guard, which is off by about 1.5. So if it tells you to put it on 6, you're really only doing about 4.5. And I just figured it out by measuring out my driveway, making a pass, seeing where it spreads, sweep it up, and weigh it. Now this particular part of the lawn was all treated with pre-emergent, but I also had a huge weed outbreak in the spring of dolly grass and whatever it is. It's a perennial, and weed killer other than Roundup doesn't kill it, so I had to use Roundup. Now as far as I know, Roundup does not kill seeds, so other than that, there has been nothing coming up in this area that was treated other than the pre-existing weeds and the grass that I did not treat. Now over here, this is all new soil that was brought in after I had some work done. And as you can see, I'm getting plenty of crabgrass and other weeds, if it's even crabgrass. Some of it might be crabgrass, some of it might not be, but this is all untreated. And then if you just go to the areas that I didn't put any soil in, there's hardly any weeds. I do have other weeds in my grass, and a lot of it I killed off, but I'm done spraying chemicals. But I got this stuff here, which is kind of ugly, but it grows pretty good. But I knocked it down, and it did quite a number on my lawn as what I thought was grass. As you can see, I didn't do too good of a job spraying here, and it's all coming up. It's definitely not crabgrass. If anybody knows what it is, I'm going to get rid of it maybe next year. It's not terrible, it's just, I just don't like how it looks. And no matter how sharp my lawnmower blade is, it always looks like crap after you cut it. And I got some other issues going on here, but like I said, I had a lot of work done in this area of the yard, so did not really care much about what my lawn looked like. As soon as the weather breaks, it'll all come back, and I'll be mowing 3 times a week again. Here's one of the areas I had a lot of work done. Basically, I had a whole bunch of stumps that were buried here. This is what my yard looked like when I bought the house 20 years ago. And I fought with it for about 5 or 6 years before I really started to at least learn about growing grass. And basically, I was trying to grow grass on, as you can see here, this is basically what is in my yard once you get down 6-8 inches. It's all rock, sand, and clay. There's no real soil here. So over the years, when I can, I've been trying to bring in soil. But for the most part, I just mulch mowed. And after about 2 or 3 years, I finally, it started to look like this. And this whole part of the yard gets sun all day, and it's still just sand. So the grass, I only get what I get. I don't fight it, but I don't get the mud field that I used to get, 15, 20 years ago. As you can see in the shade, it's a little better. But every year, no matter what, I get these just white, dry, patchy areas. Some of it, this is where the mower blade kind of runs a little close, so it gets scalped. I try to remember all the spots, but the yard is very uneven. And there's a spot I've been manually pulling the weeds, and that's all I've been doing. Whatever the chemicals didn't kill, I've just been pulling manually because you see they're starting to set seed. I'm trying to get them before they cast their seeds. I don't water, I don't irrigate, I take care of my lawn just enough so it doesn't turn into a mud bowl or a dust bowl. All these brown spots will be back as soon as the weather breaks. Another 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I'm gonna have to overseed all these bare spots. It looks like I got the dolly grass under check. I do have some other weeds to deal with. I did a lousy job spraying over here, and all these fat leaf weeds are here. And I must have missed this whole area because this whole area was that wide blade grass, and there's nothing here but whatever fescue or rye is left. And the weed killer took a long time to make this turn. I think it might actually still be working because there are some that are starting to turn pale. But this whole area has that wide blade grass. This stuff, I don't know what it is, don't care. I knocked it down a little bit. But as far as trying to plant grass in the summer, it's tough. This was all put down. What you see growing here, this was put down when they did the work back in June, July, end of June, beginning of July. And you can see it does come up here and there along with the weeds. I pulled a lot of weeds. I've been pulling weeds out of this mess for months. Just been working my way back. There's one barrel. I've done many of these, and I throw them away. I put them in the trash. I get rid of them. Get rid of as many weeds as you can. Now I sprayed that quinchloric on this stuff, and it hasn't died. A lot of it did. There was other weeds in here. Whatever this is, quinchloric didn't touch it. 2 applications. And as you get back here, it just gets heavier and heavier. I'll just pull as much as I can. Just walk around for a couple hours when I can and pull it. But I'll fight the weeds next year. Now I also put down 2 pounds of seed, and then we got a lot of rain. And as you can see, a lot of it washed all into the pockets as we got that flood of rain 2 days later after I put it down. So I got all these runoffs. You can follow the runoff right down to where it piled up. I don't know if you can tell or not. You can see the little, looks like a dry riverbed coming right through here. So I should get a good flush of grass down in this area. You can see all the grass seed just kind of came to the surface after raking it in. You can see some spots. And this whole area is done. And when I sprayed the weed killer, I don't know what was here. It killed a good amount of grass over here. I don't know if it's just wheat grass. Oh, I got this stuff too. This stuff is everywhere. It kind of laughs at anything I do to it. If I pull it up and come back 10 minutes later, it will be there again. But this area gets full sun. I mean, it was already in the sun an hour ago. That's why I stopped weeding. So the grass seed has not sprouted yet. But if you go, yeah, I got more of that stuff over here too. I'm pretty sure I planted this garbage 15, 20 years ago when I didn't know any better. It's supposed to be some special grass of some sort, I don't know. Anyway, now I come over here. This is an area where I used to have a horseshoe pit, but we put in a shed. I put down the same seed, and it is growing here because it doesn't get the same amount of sun. It will get sun now for about another hour, and then it will get past the tree here, and it'll be in the shade. So it actually has grass coming up. Nice fresh grass. How long it will last, who knows. And kids do a number on the lawn. I don't know what it is about this tree, but my kids will like just hang out under it and run laps, and the grass just gets beat down. Not to mention it doesn't get any sun from midsummer. And another spot said I don't water. I'll water when I put new seed down, but the only place I actively water is next to the car, where everybody walks down here, and then over here. I don't know if it picks up on the camera or not, but you can see basically where I stop watering, right where the hose is. I water just this section here and around where the kids walk. That's it. I'm not burning through all that water. I don't really want to mow my lawn a lot. When you water it, you got to mow it more. Usually my lawn is pretty dormant by July, early July. And it tends to look like this most of the year. I mean, most of the summer. It just gets brown and crusty, but it always comes back as soon as the rain and the weather comes, the cool weather. But I don't have a mud field anymore, and that was my objective. Soil's still, again, another area of the house where the soil is just awful. I'd rather just call it dirt, because that's basically what's under there. But it's like $1,000 worth of compost. To come spread a ½ inch or so of compost, and just didn't have it to spend on the lawn. So I'll go back to mulch mowing. I did do a power rake, only because I had a lot of clippings that just weren't breaking down fast enough. Like the stuff here, even though this is dead weeds, I had this, which is almost compost. It's not far from breaking down, which is usually what my lawn does. But it started piling up. It wasn't just that little thin layer that will break down. Like, this will be gone, and it'll end up looking like this in another week or so. It breaks down fast. But it was getting too thick, especially in the shaded areas. That's it. I don't have a lot of fun doing this. I don't really want to do it. Like I said, if I can keep from having the mud and the dust field, it's good enough for me. Just another thing to take care of. The more you want it looking pretty, the more work you got to do. If you can hire people to do it, that's great. I'm not spending that kind of money. So I just feed the grass. I do the 4-step program. I like the Let's Go products. Even with watering this area, I don't see any of the seed coming up. It's just too early. I mean, yeah, it's too early. The seeds really... Oh, another thing I got these big old Arcadia killer wasps. Got a ton of them this year. Crazy. about it. A little long-winded. See ya.